Thank you, Mark. Wherever you're watching around the world, a big welcome to you to one of the most traditional days, not just in English football, but world football. Only two clubs have won the FA Cup at this, the new Wembley, and those two clubs, Stuart Robson, are at it again today, Chelsea and Portsmouth.
Well, we didn't expect to see Portsmouth in this final. They were up against Spurs in the semi-final, but they came through that, they defended really well, and then they played on the counter-attack, and in the end it was a good performance from them. Chelsea, they've been outstanding in the FA Cup all season and fully deserve to be here, and what a great chance they've got of winning the double.
John Terry, after causing a few Chelsea hearts to beat a little faster in midweek when there was a worry about him being fit today, it was a false alarm pretty much, and he will come out side by side with his England colleague David James. It is extraordinary. Here we are looking at the champions, the top club, and they face the bottom club from the Premier League, relegated, riddled with debt, no hopers in the minds of many. But then that was the thought before the semi-final here, Stuart.
It certainly was, and there has been history before. We talked about Wimbledon beating Liverpool. What about when Brighton got a draw against Manchester United many years ago, only to lose the replay? But Portsmouth had no chance, supposedly, against Spurs in that Cup semi-final, only last month. But they certainly put in a good performance, and on the day, probably deserved to beat Spurs.
Well, more statistics for you in favour of Chelsea. It's 7 months short of 50 years since Portsmouth last beat them. 28 meetings in total.
Well, John Terry want to continue that run. They've had a really good season, but they have been vulnerable on certain occasions. They lost at Wigan in the Premier League, they drew with Hull. They haven't always been good away from Stamford Bridge. That's what Portsmouth will be hoping to do. Defend really well and then counter-attack with pace.
The sense of expectation whipped up. It is the most recognisable trophy still in world football, despite the developments in Europe. The FA Cup will go today either to stay in Chelsea's hands or back to Fratton Park, where it's been a season of such turmoil. Blue is certainly the predominant colour here. Chelsea won the toss to play in their regulation strip. Portsmouth changed kit today with origins from the very early years of the football club from down on the south coast of England.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the pitch our chief guest today, Prince William, who will now be presented to the teams alongside representatives of
guest of honour today, the President of the Football Association, His Royal Highness Prince William, followed by the Chairman of the Football Association, Lord Treesman. Avram Grant, who has worked miracles with Portsmouth against all the odds. And of course, is a former Chelsea manager. Prince William has made it quite clear he does have a favourite team, but they're not involved today. Aston Villa. Chris Foy, the referee. Rarely have there been stronger favourites to win an FA Cup final than Chelsea today, if ever. But they've had 6 days to get some of the tastes of the celebrations from winning the league out of their systems, to get their focus right again. If they haven't, then Portsmouth, I think, in boxing parlance, Stuart, you might say they've got a puncher's chance, Portsmouth.
Well, Chelsea, as I said, haven't played away from Stamford Bridge that well on certain occasions. They've been lacklustre in midfield on occasions. And Portsmouth, if they've got any sort of chance, they've got to make sure they don't concede early in the game.
The handshakes are over, and on what is a royal occasion for this FA Cup final, it is time for the national anthem. Smith leading the Wembley attendance for the singing of the national anthem. Portsmouth actually delayed their arrival. Chelsea were in the ground a good 20 minutes, maybe half an hour ahead of their opponents. And you can spend too much time waiting around for a big game like this. Emotional energy expended. Team news for you. The main Chelsea scare. That training ground foot injury in the week to John Terry. But the captain is here and looking to lift the trophy for the 3rd time in 4 years. There were doubts too about right back Branislav Ivanovic, but he has also made it. The left back Ashley Cole is looking to become the first player in FA Cup history to collect a 6 winners medal. Didier Drogba could become only the 3rd player to score in finals in 3 different years.
In recent weeks, Michael Ballack has dictated the game from his deep-lying midfield role through his passing. This has allowed Lampard, Malouda and the front 3 to rotate positions and get forward at will. Although Didier Drogba starts as the spearhead, he will continue drifting to wide areas to allow Anelka and Kalou to use the space he vacates.
Portsmouth trying to base their selection on the successful semi-final lineup, but the versatile Mark Wilson lost his fight with injury. Compensation though in the availability of Jamie O'Hara, who couldn't play here against Spurs because they have loaned him to Portsmouth. David James becomes the oldest goalkeeper to play in an FA Cup final, and Papa Bouba Diop, who was dropped from the final starting 11 2 years ago, got a late call-up today when Hassan Yebda was declared unfit this morning.
Centre-backs McQuainer and Rochelt will need to be aware not only of Drogba but also the midfield runs of Lampard and Malouda, just as they did in the semi-final against Spurs. However, key to Portsmouth's game plan will be O'Hara, Bouba Diop and Brown competing with and negating Chelsea's midfield.
Well, both teams chose, indeed asked, to break with the norm, to train here yesterday because of concerns about the pitch. It has been better. I guess it has been worse as well. And it is the same, as they always say, for both sides.
Although the pitch doesn't look as good as it did in the semi-finals, I think it's going to play a lot better. Both teams seemed happy with it yesterday.
There has been some sunshine around northwest London after a fairly chilly week. Normally the warmer temperatures come when the FA Cup final comes around. So we're almost ready. The 129th FA Cup final. The fourth here at the new Wembley. Two of the previous three won by Chelsea, the other one won by Portsmouth. Favourites to kick off. Most of the Chelsea team have been through this before and come away with winners' medals. But only David James started the final for Portsmouth 2 years ago against Cardiff here. Here is Michael Ballack. Stewart says in that slightly withdrawn position that Mikel has occupied for most of the season. He's out with a knee injury, he's had surgery. And Chelsea starting with the same 11 who put Wigan to the sword so emphatically last Sunday. Piquion trying to drop it into the run of Boateng coming from the left-hand side through the middle. Ivanovic.
Well, it is important that Portsmouth pose a threat on the counter-attack with Dindan on the right-hand side, Piquion up front, and Prince Boateng on that left-hand side, cutting in as he did there.
Uber job, Jamie O'Hara, who's playing in some pain, I would suggest. He's got a back problem. Certainly wasn't even moving freely when he got off the team bus to arrive at Wembley. Steve Finnan, who's won the FA Cup before with Liverpool 4 years ago. There is a real senior look to this FA Cup final. Portsmouth have only got a couple of players younger than 29. And I've pointed out a few times this season that almost the Chelsea pensioners, the team in blue.
It's nothing like developing youth team players, is there?
Drogba has been the king of Wembley on several occasions, loves playing here. Here's Anelka, he started as we expected on the left with Kalou on the right. Malouda. Portsmouth will have worked, I'm sure, under Afram Grant on how they're going to defend as a unit. Bubajop out to make a challenge there. Kalou trying to get through, can't do so. Pompey really picked to play on the break. O'Hara will try and give some support to Piquion. He tries to pick him out here. Flag has gone up for offside.
I think that was a wasted counter-attack, really. There was a moment there when Prince Boateng could have got at Michael Ballack.
You have to wonder whether any of these players in the white shirts here will ever play for Portsmouth again. Here's Brown. Over £130 million in debt, the club. Taking on one of the richest football institutions in the world. Maqueda is happy to get it long. Absolutely no challenge on Terry here.
Not sure that John Terry's running too smoothly at the moment. Just seen him go after one or two balls.
Here's Malouda. Angled off by Lampard for Anelka to burst onto it. And it's past David James from Lampard, but past the post as well, as Chelsea look, as they've been doing so often recently, to undermine the opposition early.
Well, they just put a bit of pace into this move. Lampard played it square. Anelka running onto it. Good defending from Maqueda. He knew exactly what Anelka was going to try and do. Got a good block in. And they got out quickly to Lampard, although he did get his shot away. Just caught the outside of his foot.
Ancelotti's Chelsea have already done better than Hiddink Chelsea a year ago, because at this stage they were a goal down. So that lightning start from Everton and Louis Saha. It was of course Lampard who got the winner. Boateng trying to turn away from Ivanovic, who recovered well, voted by his fellow players into the Players All-Star Team of the season.
He has had a good season, but he can be got at. Saw Hunt of Hull really do him a hard time in a league game in Hull earlier in the season.
Ballack. Ivanovic has had a long run in the side this season. Kuzmas is out injured, but here's Kalou, headed away by McQuainer. O'Hara, Boateng, looking to build off Picquion.
Good defending from McQuainer again when that ball came into the box. Picquion, I think he could be a danger to both Alex and Terry with his pace.
Ashley Cole, slightly mishit by Malouda, but it reaches Ivanovic. All sorts of pre-match talk about not just Chelsea winning, but the size of a Chelsea win.
Again, good defending from McQuainer. Dindan allowed Ashley Cole to run in behind him. McQuainer got across there quickly. That's that positional rotation that Chelsea have throughout their team.
Looped in by Nelka. Hayden Mullins at left back. Just about reacted in time. Portsmouth have given up bonuses for the glory of the cup run.
Didier Drogba, when he looks at the two centre-halves, Rocha and McQuainer, must fancy his chances in the air when balls are slung into the box.
Malouda getting the better of Dindan. David James in no sort of hurry. Avram Grant will have said, look, if we can draw this thing, stay in the game as long as possible, and then you never know what might fall your way. The semi-final showed that. Slip by Michael Dawson, a goal for Picquion, and the improbable became probable. Here's Anelka, who won the cup 12 years ago, did the double 12 years ago with Arsenal. Scored here in the FA Cup final that year against Newcastle.
Has had a tremendous season. Florent Malouda he has played up front in wide areas. Today he's playing in a midfield position, allowed to run off Michael Ballack whenever he can.
Here's Aruna Dindan, trying to steer it through to where again Boateng have got into the box, coming from the wide position from outside to in, something that Ivanovic in particular has got to keep an eye on.
And he hasn't kept an eye on it a couple of times. His body position's been all wrong, Ivanovic. He's turned his body just to face the ball. I think Boateng's tried to get in behind him. If the ball had been delivered earlier, he was in.
Well, really hasn't been a barrel of laughs being a Portsmouth fan this season. What a way to end an otherwise catastrophic campaign. It really was getting a side that could win the FA Cup 2 years ago, that and the cost of doing that, Stuart, that has led to Portsmouth overspending, and how.
Certainly on the wages. Some very big players at the club at the time, massive wages. They couldn't sustain those wages.
Ballack looking for Kalou, who chases plenty of pace, but not in the end with any success. He's found his form and a place in the starting lineup over the last month or so. Been rather a backup player for most of the Premier League season.
There's what you're talking about. O'Hara not walking with any sort of ease there.
Well, in simple terms, he's got a broken back, a stress fracture on the bottom of the spine. Not sure what Tottenham's view is on him playing in these circumstances, but maybe they were sympathetic because he had to miss out on the semi-final. Didn't please the Tottenham hierarchy because he said he wanted Portsmouth to win. And they did. Kalu goes again. Ricardo Rocha securely. Here's Michael Brown. Mullins played it and continued his run. Fight for it here, does so successfully. That switch of play at this time towards Dindan.
Wasn't a bad idea though, he just got the angle of the pass wrong. Chelsea trying to hold a high line. Dindan trying to make the run in behind Ashley Cole. He's got to do that, he's got to force Ashley Cole back. Because Ashley Cole will try and get forward as much as possible and cause him problems. Dindan's got to do it the other way.
Ashley Cole has scored the final goal in Chelsea's league season, last of the 8-0 win over Wigan. Anelka, who got 2 in that game after a lean spell.
I think Buka Diop is lucky here. This is a poor challenge. Anelka goes past him too easily. Goes with one leg, gets him with the other. It not been a cup final, I think he might have got a book in there.
If it hadn't been Chris Foy, you might have got a booking. He's hardly one of the hard-liners. The top officials in this country always tries to give the game a chance, the players a chance. Good conversationalist on the field and off it as well. It's a little debate, this time of an amicable variety, unlike the one over the penalty. Last Sunday between Lampard and Drogba.
I think the key here is if they can hit the target, it's a bounce in front of David James and then get players racing in on it.
Brown can't clear it. Back by Lampard. Weight of numbers in Portsmouth's favour. Nippy play by Ashley Cole, and he's pretty nippy to tell his teammates they should have been set up for that counter-attack, and Ballack in particular.
Poor effort from Lampard, the free kick, a couple of goes at it. Certainly Ashley Cole, since he's been back in the side, free from injury, he looks to be back at his best.
With the header off the chest of Boateng. Michael Brown, you know what you're going to get from him. Not always what you might call Premier League pace, but he knows his job.
And you know you're going to get a strong tackle or two from him as well. Yeah, just gives the ball away. Gets beaten to it by Frank Lampard, then has a kick with his right foot on the standing foot of Frank Lampard. Again, I think the referee has been slightly lenient here.
Yes, he's known to referees, Michael Brown. Lampard will know what to expect from him. Anelka going for the header. Not sure where the ball was going to drop. In goes Terry. Drogba. He's just pushed up through the middle now. Lampard has a crack and shaves the frame of the goal.
Chelsea moved the ball quickly. Lampard, great first touch. Gets his shot away quickly. That's on target to start with, and then just swerving away at the last moment. Those midfield three are just getting the better of Portsmouth at the moment. Malouda, Ballack, Lampard.
Is aware of that. One of England's 3 goalkeepers for South Africa, along with Joe Hart and Robert Green. Terry, knocked on by Malouda, taken on by Drogba. Or Malouda again. Drogba wants it back. Malouda goes to Anelka instead. Chelsea threatening here. And James has to keep it out. Down by his near post from Anelka.
Well, Steve Finnan doesn't defend well here. You've got to send Anelka to the byline. Continually Anelka this season cuts in on his right foot, hit shots. It's a good save from David James. Alert.
Maluda with the corner. Out by Bartek. Alak to survey the scene. Crossed by Ivanovic. Dindan. To buy a free kick there, and he's got one.
Dindan had a first half against Spurs that he'd wished to forget. He kept on slipping over, gave the ball away time after time, but he got better and better as the game wore on, and that's what Avon Grant will be hoping for this time.
As Portsmouth's stock has dropped, the manager's stock has risen. Much talk that he will be leaving for the vacancy at West Ham. Astutely, he's avoided questions on that subject in the build-up to the final. Has been talking about how he's fallen in love with Portsmouth Football Club. He did serve them before as a director of football under Harry Redknapp. Maluda. Now Ballack. A bit static around him. Says handball.
Right, it was a bit static from Chelsea. It was easy for Portsmouth to defend that sort of situation. Drogba had 2 or 3 players around him. But the op just catches him on that arm.
It might be harmful to Portsmouth this. Probably right on the limits of a direct striker goal. Didier Drogba. 36 goals in all competitions this season.
Alex can blast them as well. It's a ferocious shot on him. A long look at it, Alex, but I think he's being pushed to the side by Drogba.
But Alex does take over, and it is a hefty thump. David James never shy of hitting with the ball when he can't handle it. Safely out. Length on the throw. Really worked for Chelsea. Kevin Prince Boateng did very well to track the movement of Kalou. It's a study in defensive organisation for Portsmouth, as you would expect. Anelka. And then backs off. And in the end, it's Aqueda. This time Finnan did get him down to the outside, but in a position where any cut back from there was going to be troublesome to Premier League's bottom club.
He's just got to press him that little bit earlier. He can't allow Drogba to get any sort of pace up running at him. To confront him much earlier, Steve Finnan.
Lampard's corner. Dealt with at the near post by Brown, and that's more than just a clearance. As it's found Dindan. He's got to wait for some support. He's coming on the outside from Boateng. Just tries to run past Ashley Cole. Need a little bit more subtlety.
Yeah, not the player that you can run past Ashley Cole, unless with great pace. It's Boateng, a tricky player, not the quickest.
Here is Dindan. O'Hara. With a bad back, even throwing the ball in is a problem, and he's leaving it to Finnan. It's not going to help. His injury to fall on the base of the spine as he did then. It all got very tight with Steve Finnan. Chelsea able to press, but it's a Portsmouth throw again.
About the third time that O'Hara's had the ball in that area, and it's been on his wrong foot, so he couldn't get the cross in.
Malouda very much on his strong foot, the left. Ballack knocked over off the ball.
I think this was a bit of retribution. Ballack and O'Hara a little bit on the side. It's a poor challenge for O'Hara. He doesn't really catch Ballack.
Chelsea started their season by getting a trophy here at Wembley. First match under Carlo Ancelotti, they won the Community Shield. They had to go to penalties to get their hands on it. Kalou. Ivanovic. Lampard. Ivanovic. And it's set up for Drogba. It's Drogba again. 2 chances, neither taken.
Brilliant from Aquina. He's already got 2 good defensive blocks in this game. There was another 2 there.
O'Hara spreading it wide to Boateng. It's just a little bit short in the end by an apologetic Lampard. And Chelsea had an attack there played with better tempo, and they got the man they would want to get into a shooting position, Didier Drogba, but the Wembley specialist, the big game specialist, didn't deliver that time.
And Dan's not having a good game so far. Just showed too much of the ball there to Ashley Cole. Fortunate for Portsmouth that the game was brought back because there was a counter-attacking opportunity. Aquina, 2 absolutely superb blocks here. But he's in against Anelka in the box. Then the ball gets transferred. Look at him get out quickly. There's the first one, gets up, gets the second one in. Great defending from a player earlier in the season when he was playing in midfield, was getting a lot of stick off the Portsmouth fans.
Time for Terry to play it into Alex. O'Hara trying to be a one-man pressing machine and expecting others to help him out, and in the end Chelsea didn't do very well. Dindan was allowed to get the ball. Could be problems for Chelsea here with Dindan. Oh, and it came off for Piquion. The volley was by Boateng. Piquion looked to see whether he was offside. The flag didn't go up. It would have counted. And Portsmouth so close to taking a shock lead.
Well, Dindan doing well there. This is a great volley back in. Certainly wasn't offside because you see Michael Ballack's position just off the field. Well, better check. Had enough time just to get his hand on that. That's good from Portsmouth, and it's the 2 wide players involved. That's what we need to see from Dindan. Portsmouth are to cause a threat to Chelsea.
Traditional cry, play up Pompey, reverberating around Wembley. We're nearly 1 up. Drogba's offside and he's not going to get it anyway.
Carlo Ancelotti is furious on the side. Not quite sure who he's having a go at. Alex might have been the player he was talking to, or shouting at, should I say.
Boateng is hardly trained in the build-up to this game because of an ankle problem. Anelka. Oh, it's handball, wasn't it, by Hoover Job? Obviously not deemed intentional by Chris Foy, who was right on the scene. But here's Kalou. Backed up by Ivanovic. He in turn by Ballack, who thought about just tossing the ball into the box, then thought better of it. Terry steps forward. Now Malouda. Anelka can strike it. Blocking done by Rocha this time. Ballack. And it's given away by Anelka, and Carlo Ancelotti. Absolutely right, Stuart, is fuming in the Chelsea technical area. Brown. Finnan. O'Hara wanted it, played a little earlier. gets it off the front man, Piquion. Alex comes across, Piquion gets there first, can't make it a meaningful cross. But this is much more encouraging from the underdogs, almost the ultimate FA Cup final underdogs. How close here to taking the lead.
Well, I think Prince Boateng can be a real problem to Chelsea. He's just picking his runs well. Sometimes he's going in on the diagonal to try and get inside Ivanovic. Sometimes he stays out wide. On that occasion, just found himself some space. Piquion just couldn't get it away from Petr Cech.
Mokoena had to be nippy then. Portsmouth not just relying on the back line, although we've seen those great Mokoena blocks, and one more recently from Rocha, trying to defend as a team, but just use the shape of the lineup that Avram Grant has put in place here to make sure it's not just all-out defending. Piquion. Here's Brown. Shovels it wide to Mullins. Boateng. Can't keep it in.
If Boateng does go into a centre-forward position to join Piquion, it's important that Hayden Mullins does get forward. There is Ancelotti, still angry at what he's seeing, particularly on the counter-attack.
Nail-biting for the owner as well, Roman Abramovich. Portsmouth have stopped Chelsea really knocking the ball around at any sort of tempo. Maybe part of that is down to Chelsea's own approach, that size of the occasion might just be getting to them, the weight of expectation on their shoulders. We've seen as abject failure on their part if Portsmouth made off with the FA Cup at the end of this final. Malouda. Ashley Cole. Oh, and Kalou from right in front of the goal has managed to hit the bar. And Portsmouth were furious because Ashley Cole got forward after a little incident on his momentum from left back.
Well, first of all, it's a good diagonal ball. Ashley Cole got in behind Dindan, who fell over.
Was it just a fall over? He didn't push it?
No, he just fell over off the ball, Dindan. What a run from Ashley Cole. He avoided the next challenge and got the cross in. That will be miss of the season from Kalou.
Anelka. Now Malouda. Here's Dindan. No foul. Challenge was by Malouda, was a fair one, says referee Foy. Kalou trying to make up for that miss. Lampard. And Drogba trying to get it across the face where Kalou was waiting and hoping for another chance. It certainly wasn't the wisdom of Salomon here.
McQuain got out there, then couldn't make the challenge.
Look at this.
Hayden Mullins was trying to get back, was nowhere near the situation. Kalou, oh, it comes off his shin in the end. They can't believe it. Nor can he.
Put it in was Ashley Cole's message to Kalou, and he couldn't do it. And we keep all sorts of Wembley records. I haven't got one of the FA Cup final miss of all time, but I think that's a candidate for it.
Certainly is.
Ancelotti, like many Europeans, indeed many football citizens of the world, grew up watching the FA Cup final when it came round. You might recall Gordon Smith of Brighton. Smith must score was the quote. You mentioned that earlier, Stuart, that final, a 2-2 draw with Manchester United.
That would have made it 3-2 in the last minute, and Gary Bailey blocked the effort. Another foul from Bouba Diop. So we have to tread carefully. Big midfield player.
Chelsea's free kick taken by Malouda and headed against the bar again by Terry this time. So first Kalou from in front of a gaping goal, then Terry from the free kick. Chelsea knocking on the door now.
Well, I think John Terry was up against, when the ball comes in, he's up against Hayden Mullins. No, it's actually Prince Boateng he's up against. Prince Boateng's never going to win a header against John Terry. It's a great angled header. Is it going to be Portsmouth's day?
We shouldn't forget
their luck.
Frank Lampard hit the outside of the post, didn't he?
Yeah. I thought John Terry might be struggling, but he jumps here. It's a great leap from him. Heads it back across David James. Everything right. Another couple of inches lower. They've been up a lot, those fans. Disappointed most of the time.
Half an hour gone. Chelsea 0, Portsmouth 0. Certainly not without goalmouth incident. Malouda. Portsmouth throw.
I think Portsmouth get away with this one as well. But they are finding it difficult, Portsmouth, to cope with the movement of Chelsea. All the players are rotating their positions, only Ballack really, and the two centre-halves are staying in their starting positions. Even Ivanovic is getting forward, coming in field at times.
Boateng, a more natural left-back than Hayden Mullins, might have anticipated that a little earlier. It's good for Mullins to be playing. He was actually suspended from the 2006 final when he was a West Ham player. Painful experience to go through. Great final it was too, the 3-3 draw with Liverpool that went to penalties. Here's Ashley Cole. Touch from Drogba. Anelka goes for shot, deflection, and James was stranded. He knew he couldn't reach it, rather like the John Terry header, which he had to wave goodbye to.
Once again, I think it's McQuainer that gets the block in. Doesn't really press the ball, but he just sticks out his right knee. And a decent game, McQuainer.
After a sluggish start, Chelsea starting to assert themselves. Battling by Ballack. Free kick given. Dindan. Bang in the face, and now Michael Ballack drawn into some pushing and shoving, and Portsmouth going to send him back on his way to his midfield position. He's just got to be careful Chris Foy doesn't send him on his way off the pitch.
Michael Ballack's been involved in one or two things. I think he's just been winding up some of the Portsmouth players. There he gets a whack across the chops, and then there's nothing too much wrong with what Ballack does really. He got one across the chops, a little swing himself. Then there's a bit of afters with Michael Brown.
James takes the free kick. Boateng. By Ivanovic, not very far. Brown got there. Boateng just rolling his man, Ivanovic.
Just nudging Ivanovic in the back there. No question about that. O'Hara did well to win the first one. There he goes. Pushed Ivanovic under the ball.
It's only the third time these clubs have come together in the FA Cup. First was back in 1929. Portsmouth won after a replay in the 5th round. They got to the final then, and then in 1997 a quarter-final between the two, which Chelsea won 4-1 at Fratton Park in the heyday of Gianfranco Zola. Dennis Wise got a couple of goals, and Chelsea of course went on to win the trophy against Middlesbrough, who were the last team to play in an FA Cup final before Portsmouth, who had been relegated before the big day. Cole has played him onside here. And it's Dindan, who is a bit hit and miss, and that was a miss. O'Hara, Malouda in the way. Here's Ballack. Boateng came firing back at him, and that earlier incident involving Ballack maybe was in Boateng's mind. Chris Foy, I think he's going to produce a card here.
Well, I'm not sure that Boateng meant this one. I think he slid in just as Ballack clipped the ball away, but you were quite right at the other end. Certainly wasn't offside. Ashley Cole was playing them all onside, and that was a great opportunity for Dindan.
Boateng, who scored the second goal in the win over Spurs here in the semi-final from the penalty spot. Former Spurs player, that must have been very sweet for him. This is not so sweet.
He does catch him right on the side of the ankle. That was surely Ballack just flicks the ball away there. Oh, that could be a bad injury.
And of course, with the countdown on to the World Cup finals, any international player who's needing treatment at the moment is a potentially gruesome headline for their country.
I can't see Ballack coming back from this, in this match anyway.
Balletti would be a candidate.
Yep.
And what would be his final Chelsea appearance. His contract is up. There's no suggestion from the player that he's going to stay.
He'll certainly play that holding midfield role. But what an opportunity for Dindan. So he's not offside. When the first run is made from Piqué on here, Ashley Cole was playing them all onside. Get in behind the back two. He does well, Piqué. He can't see the pass. Now he does. And a big wild swing at it from Dindan. It was actually good movement from Dindan to find the space in the first place. But he does lack composure at times. And as you quite rightly said, he can be hit and miss. We saw that against Spurs on numerous occasions.
Obviously going to have to make a reasonably rapid assessment of Ballack. Not close enough to half-time, really, for Chelsea to get through without either sending him back on or sending for a substitute.
I think I've made the quick assessment already for him. He might be coming back.
Well, wait, Dr. Robson.
Give it a try though. They're going to work on it.
Meanwhile, Chelsea are going to work on this free kick. It's peering over Drogba's shoulder, but Drogba goes for it this time. Now, shouts of was it over the line? There's no flag.
What a strike this was. This bends all over the place. David James gets a hand on it. Does it go over the line? Ooh.
Well, Chelsea had a legitimate claim last year. Florent Malouda was about to take this corner. It wasn't given then, but they won against Everton, of course. No one really reflected much on it. What an extraordinary first half this has turned out to be. It's not a one-horse race. Maybe that's not such a surprise. But the number of nearly goals we've had, and David James, the whole of the ball, remember, has to be over the whole of the line.
Turned out to be a great save, because that ball was dipping and swerving all over the place. It was going in one corner. That's why David James didn't get both hands on it when it seemed a straight drive. What a strike from Didier Drogba, and well played the officials.
Yeah, it was top draw from Drogba, from James, and from the assistant, and of course the man who response to the incident, has the responsibility for the incident, referee Chris Foy. But at times the Portsmouth goal is bearing a charmed life. But Pompey have had their chances as well.
So I think Alex at times is a bit dozy. There, Prince Bartay made a run, 30-yard run. Everybody in the stadium can see it. Alex didn't, and he asked Ivanovic to come back.
Alak is back on, but checking each stride really, and certainly doesn't look fully recovered, shall we say.
Well, I hope I'm wrong and he does come and play a full part in this game. I think it's going to be a real struggle for him.
Knocked out by James. And on chases. We're never quite sure about offside these days, because sometimes the assistants don't bother to flag if the player doesn't get the ball.
From the angle we are here, I don't think he was offside again, and once again Alex was very square. All Piquion did was come and spin on him. The ball was played in behind. Very lacklustre from centre-half Alex.
Anelka. Fight Portsmouth are putting up. Yes, they have had their moments of fortune. But, 40 minutes gone. Still awaiting the first goal of the 2010 FA Cup final. Ivanovic. Oh, and Drogba! James came out after two defenders had failed to deal with the danger of Didier Drogba.
When the ball's lofted to the far post, that is the problem. Such a big player up against Steve Finn and McQuain, who aren't great headers of the ball. He has a bit of luck, the ball getting to him, but he gets to it early and plays it quickly under David James.
No wonder they're banging that. The frame of that goal, it's been hit pretty much everywhere. 5 times in this first half. Still a bit early to start using that FA Cup cliche, if your name's on the trophy.
There was another game, wasn't there? Sunderland versus Leeds here, the old Wembley. And Leeds had all the play, they were the top team in the first division as it was then, up against Sunderland in the second.
Booba Job. The offside flag does go this time.
It's the right ball. Spartang shouldn't really be offside there, but that diagonal could cause Ivanovic problems.
Drogba. Kalou. Guilty of the miss of this and many other matches. Terry. Down aware of his defensive responsibilities. Here's Piquion. I think you've got it right, Stuart, as far as Michael Ballack is concerned. You're going to have to make the change even before half-time.
I'm not sure it has done it too much good limping around for the last 5 minutes. But he's been excellent in recent weeks. He's not back to his best, he's not as athletic as he once was. Certainly dictating the play in recent games, and that's why Chelsea have scored so many goals, because he's just been sitting in and he's allowed other players to run off of him. He's been switching the point of attack, so Belletti will have to come on and do a similar job.
Belletti's proved himself to be a useful squad man. More often used as a right back. Brazilian has a World Cup winners medal. He was in the successful squad of 2002.
Champions League winner with Barcelona as well.
Scored the winning goal for Barcelona against Arsenal 4 years ago. Here's Kalou. Ivanovic. Maquena gets it away. Kalou! And Ivanovic was offside.
Well, great 1-2 from Chelsea in the first place. That's the way to get in behind Portsmouth. Creative playing in and around the box. It's a little 1-2 played here with Kalou. Does really well to get it back in. That man Maquena in the right place. And then he was out of play. So all going Portsmouth's way at the moment in terms of the luck.
3 added minutes. Much of that for the injury that's ended this FA Cup final for Michael Ballack. Anelka. Ashley Cole, as well as his 5 winners medal, did get a runner-up gong with Arsenal. And they lost to Liverpool in 2001. Malouda. Oh, Anelka not closed down, able to shoot. Corner.
Guess who got the block in again?
Aaron Maquena.
Got out quickly. They defend a little bit too deeply at the moment. There comes Maquena. Just gets the block on it at the last minute, but they are defending too deeply now and allowing too much space in front of them.
Short corner on for Chelsea, but not used to good effect. Petr Cech roaring out here to take the throw. Realising that time is almost up before half-time, the shape of the game is with Chelsea. Lampard. Well, it is half-time that Pompey need at the moment. Well, it'd be like that if they were 3-0 up, so don't read too much into it.
It's got to figure a way, though, at half-time to stop Chelsea getting so many chances.
Galati. Ivanovic. And that's Ashley Cole. The shot count rises. The score remains 0-0.
I think as the game wears on, we'll see Ashley Cole and Ivanovic play right up the front or in top wide areas, but these are all the chances that Chelsea have had. It's the easiest of them. Good header from John Terry.
Five times the frame of the goal has been struck. Lampard, Drogba twice, Kalou and Terry. Green on the far side, quite right to keep his flag down. Well, a moment of fine judgment called as to whether the ball had crossed the line or not. How Kalou didn't put it in the Portsmouth net, only really he knows. But it's been a succession of close calls from all parts of the Chelsea team, really. But certainly, and David James has made a significant contribution with that turn from Drogba's free kick onto the underside of the bar. Portsmouth had a couple of openings themselves with Piquion from close range and Dindan missing his kick well placed. Amazingly, we haven't had a goal in the first 45 minutes. Chelsea 0, Portsmouth 0. Now, but they are holding Chelsea with a bit of good fortune and some very good defensive organisation for much of the half. Hoping to join managers like Bill Nicholson of Spurs, Bertie Mee, Arsenal, Kenny Dalglish, Liverpool, and Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger of the current crop as winners of the league and FA Cup in the same season. Of course, for Ancelotti in his first season, it would be a fabulous achievement. Chris Foy gets the second half underway. Piquion. Hara trying to get there. Tidied up by Terry. It's Kalou chasing.
Yeah, Balletti playing in the role that Ballack took up in the first half, playing in front of his back two. It's going to be the provider, trying to switch the play. A bit more pace into the game than Ballack. And then he's got the same passing range as the German midfield player.
Spalletti's another older player as well. He's even older than Ballack, so I don't know how the pace of the game will be sustained in the second half and maybe into extra time. It's Boateng, one of the younger players on the field though. So there another free kick to Portsmouth.
The trouble is, when you look at these free kicks, you can't see where Portsmouth, apart from Bouba Diop, who's going to win the ball in the air for them. Against the likes of Terry, Ivanovic, Drogba, Alex.
It was in towards Boateng, who wasn't picked up. Hara tussling with Kalou. And Chris Foy's got to deal with Kevin Prince Boateng.
Once again, it was Alex. Some poor defending. There's a big gap between him and Drogba. Drogba had to get across at the last minute to get the challenge in. That's why he hit Boateng on the back of the head. Alex was about 2 yards further forward than he should have been. Watch here. Just jumps underneath the ball because it was Alex that was marking Prince Boateng to start with. Drogba did well to come round the back and defend it.
Quainer suggesting that if someone's been on the back of the head, that maybe it should be a penalty, I guess is the gist of what he's saying. Drogba took a bit of a chance with that challenge.
Well, what he was probably saying is that anywhere else on the field, it would be a free kick.
I think it's a valid argument. Well, the miracle of Portsmouth still in existence. I think that's the first miracle. FA Cup final against all the odds. Everyone's underdog here. Standing strong, standing proud. Talk of it being a great day out for the fans, indeed for the players, but the players are natural competitors. They don't want to just come here and be part of the occasion, they want to be the centre of the occasion. Brown, Lampard, and, Drogba causing a bit of confusion. In the end, Quainer gets it away. O'Hara, no challenge on him. Boateng's okay. 3 to stop 2 there in Chelsea's favour. Terry.
That's what I was talking about, Terry coming out with the ball. He's got every chance to do that now. He's only one up, well, he had a chance from the start of the game but didn't do it in the first half.
Anelka. Drawn out of the middle. Anelka not taking the ball with him. Risky by Dindan, but in the end he defended stoutly enough.
He got a round of applause from Portsmouth fans. I'm not sure they were too confident what he was going to do there. that position that Ashley Cole took up, I think he can do that all of the second half. Just get into almost a left wing position and allow John Terry to come out with the ball, because all that will do is take Dindan into a defensive area, and Portsmouth will have no counter-attacking options down that right-hand side.
Flip forward by Finnan. Terry all over Picquion, but the ball dropped for O'Hara. Dindan, Finnan. This time Terry is penalised.
Silly foul from John Terry. Oh, just pushes it out. Well, doesn't do too much wrong. Picquion made the most of that situation.
5 minutes gone in the second half. Portsmouth pressing for a goal. They've scored, the news of which would reverberate around the world. And Boateng very nearly got it.
Well, Chelsea went to sleep yet again. Alex at the last free kick here, they were in a bunch in the middle. Boateng just spins round the back, no one follows him, just gets underneath the shot. It was well seen by O'Hara. He got onto that ball very quickly before Chelsea were ready.
Beaten by Anelka. The more straightforward pieces defending for Mokoena. He's had some very difficult situations to deal with.
Fearsome challenge there from Cooper Diop.
He's a fearsome figure, isn't he?
I want to argue with him. Certainly felt the full force of his challenge there.
With the square shoulders and that nickname of the wardrobe, I think it's quite apt. Picquion, Boateng. Those two you feel are on the same wavelength more often than not. Dindan. It's catching practice for Czech.
I'm not sure why Picquion wanted to go across Alex there, because he had the space. Ivanovic was further up the field. It was the right ball from Dindan. Picquion just made the wrong run at the last minute.
That's Ricardo Rocha.
Didier Drogba wasn't happy with that pass from Ivanovic. He's played a couple of good 1-2s, Ivanovic. Not the most creative a player, but he's a strong runner. Very honest, athletic.
Well, looking at Chelsea's success this season, it is to some extent about strength and power more than subtlety, Stuart. Maybe at the moment they're just lacking a bit of subtlety in the circumstances to open Portsmouth up.
Well, I'd agree with you in most situations, particularly away from home, but in recent weeks some of their movement and their passing and their technical ability has been absolutely brilliant. But they haven't done it consistently. Most of it has been about power.
And a lot of the flow to the football that you're talking about has come when they've got 2 or 3 goals up and they've just stripped bare the opposition. See what was in Dindan's mind.
Ashley Cole was the wrong side there of Dindan. It was poor defending from the England left back.
And Picquion sent tumbling by the Chelsea right back. Quick free kick from Portsmouth. Boateng. Decent tackle this time by Alex, staying on his feet.
Just sense Portsmouth feel as though they're getting a foothold in the game. The game is much more even in this second half.
Drogba trying to get it down unsuccessfully. O'Hara stepping in, just nursed back to Mokoena by Job. More of the game is being played at the moment in the left-hand half of the pitch as we look. Portsmouth attack.
When that ball was played up, Dindan, Picquion were right on the offside line. Finnan was in a good area.
Here's O'Hara on his good left foot. Can he keep his balance? Boateng. Lampard. Little touch from Anelka. smoother. They just got into their stride, Chelsea, in the second half. And in his stride here is Steve Finnan. He used to do that a lot in his pomp at Liverpool. And Dindan goes down, penalty! Penalty for Portsmouth in the 10th minute of the second half. Easy decision for Chris Foy.
Brilliant run from Dindan. It's Belletti who brought him down. But again, it was good pressure by Portsmouth to win the ball back quickly. And as soon as he got into this position, they say that players shouldn't go to ground. Here, Belletti should go to ground because he gets a longer stretch on the tackle. But by standing up, he doesn't make the full stretch, and he brings down Dindan.
There was a little bit of gamesmanship there from John Terry, who had a word in Boateng's ear. Now, he scored in the semi-final here against Spurs, and now in the final itself he takes on Cech, who saves! What an opportunity wasted.
Prince Boateng's got to get on with the game. It's no good laying down on the floor. It's a poor penalty. He tries to go down the middle. Cech had gone for the save in the corner. Just kept his trailing leg there. Now he's got to get on with the game, Prince Boateng. They're in the ascendancy, Portsmouth.
Well, you think of Dave Besant saving from John Aldridge here at Wembley when Wimbledon upset the odds. And that was the favourites missing the penalty. This time the underdogs have failed from the penalty spot. And Petr Cech, credit to him, relief for Belletti.
Massive relief for Belletti. Found himself 1v1 against Dindan. He's hit and missed Dindan, but he just nudged the ball away from Belletti. He knew the challenge was coming. He can't wait to look up at the referee. He knew it would be given.
Well, Boateng went to the side that Cech dived to in the semi-final and scored. Pass to Gomez. Down goes Drogba.
Well, Drogba driving at the back for Bouba Diop with the first challenge, but it's McQuainer. Made the lunge. Now it's a chance for Drogba. Scored so many of these free kicks this season. Started off in the very first game of the season against Hull. Remember a brilliant one against Arsenal in the Premier League at the Emirates. Or could it be Lampard?
Well, Chelsea will be feeling they've been given a reprieve. Portsmouth will be feeling such disappointment. They started the second half like a team that deserved to take the lead, and of course they should have done.
I think Avram Grant just said at half-time, just squeeze that bit higher up the field, press on Chelsea a bit more, don't let them play out from the back, and it's worked up to this point.
But now it's a man who you could describe as Mr. New Wembley, really, Didier Drogba, and that's why. In a matter of moments, it's gone for Chelsea at one end with a penalty save, and at the other with yet another goal in this stadium for Didier Drogba, their leading scorer.
Well, how does he get so much power with what is almost a side foot? It dips, it swerves. His first one in the first half deserved a goal. That's exactly the same as he scored against Manuel Almunia for Chelsea against Arsenal at the Emirates, and this time it hits the inside of the post. The post is kind to him, and Chelsea find themselves 1-0 up.
And Drogba has delivered on the big stage. Portsmouth could well be totally flattened by the headline events at both ends of the pitch in quick succession.
think David James has played excellently in this game. Petr Cech's the hero at the moment, not just Didier Drogba.
Well, he joins Dave Besant and Mark Crossley as penalty saving goalkeepers in the Wembley era of FA Cup finals. Crossley of Forest, save from Gary Lineker.
Of course, that was the Gaza Cup final, wasn't it, when he got injured?
Yes, Tottenham did go on to win. And now Chelsea, via a penalty save, are in pole position to go on to win. An hour gone, they lead through Drogba. Throw by Brown. Header by McQuainer. Oh, Portsmouth are in again, and it dropped for Dindan, but it was a heavy touch. Cech was able to pick the ball up without any great alarm. Ashley Cole. Milka stayed onside. Kalou's in the middle. A second now, and you really feel it will all be up for Portsmouth, but ball's gone out. Well, it's his 6th goal at the new Wembley, and you only play here in big occasions. The man for the big occasion.
It doesn't even have any side spin on it. It just goes straight in at the far post, dipping as it goes past David James. Wonderful technique. How he gets so much power in a side foot strike, I'm not quite sure.
Chelsea's Player of the Year. For the first time, surprisingly really, at the club since 2004.
He hasn't always been a Chelsea favourite, has he?
No.
Chelsea fans didn't like him the first couple of years, but he didn't punch his weight.
Here's Kalou. And now Ivanovic. And it's just wide. And again, it's another chance that stops Kalou being a cup final scorer that he's unable to take.
But he gets in a good position here, coming in off his touchline. Great link-up play with Ivanovic. And he wasn't sure whether to take it with his right or his left. He can't believe it, Ancelotti. Nor can he. I think he's got a good understanding with Ivanovic. They've played really well together in recent weeks. Along with Ferreira when he's been playing.
Lampard. Here's Ivanovic. Stopped by Rocha. Across comes Terry. Here's Drogba.
I think Ivanovic is getting forward now. Although Prince Boateng's in a decent position now, he's actually given up on his defending a little bit since that penalty.
By Mullins. And Malouda just forced his way in front of Dindan. His challenge in the end was from an awkward angle.
What a chance he had as well. Dindan, a few moments ago, and that ball was headed into the box by McQuainer. Tried to take a touch and miscontrolled it.
Brown, Uber Job, tumbling by Malouda.
A bit petulant today, Malouda. Always plays with a smile on his face. Not today so much. Hasn't been quite as good as he has been in recent weeks. That's a poor challenge from him.
Uber Job has stayed down. painful to be behind in an FA Cup final, but it's particularly painful when your team had such a golden opportunity to take the lead from the penalty spot. Never automatic, of course. It certainly wasn't for Kevin Prince Boateng. Ricardo Rocha. Here comes McQuainer. Try and rekindle the belief that was really flooding through their veins before the penalty incident. Now Terry's just blocked off Dindan here.
Not sure about the antics from Dindan, but he was certainly blocked off. Tried to play the little 1-2. Dindan was trying to play the ball back to him, but he sucked John Terry in. So he sucks John Terry in. Good bit of skill here. Plays the 1-2, then starts to go. And that's a poor challenge from John Terry. John Terry didn't just stand in his way, he actually moved towards Dindan.
It's away by Ivanovic, crucially for Chelsea. Brown shaping up for as long a throw as he can muster here. Long enough.
It's not quite Rory Delap, is it?
No.
Plus they haven't got the size in the box either.
Wasn't the best from David James. Got Kalou interested. He couldn't keep the ball in play. He didn't fancy the goalkeeper opening himself out and playing it to the unmarked right back.
No, he certainly didn't. Scooped in the general direction of his defender.
In this wonderful competition, we have learned to expect the unexpected, so don't rule Portsmouth out just yet. I think a second goal would be too much of an ask. A group of players who have performed heroically to even be part of this climax. Lampard for Kalou, over Mullins. Kalou will get there first. Drogba's coming in. It's over James. No one went far past Drogba. Had to go near post, really. Luda seizes it back for Chelsea. Well represented in the middle now. Ashley Cole included. Another great piece of defending by Bouba Diop.
He's done well, Bouba Diop there. Ashley Cole springs it into the box. He had to get the challenge right. He leaves Anelka, comes across. What a challenge. Not only does he tackle, he also keeps the ball as well.
Kanu scored Portsmouth's winner here in the semi-final and final 2 years ago. Very much a bit part player these days, but maybe Avram Grant will turn to him. Drogba. Again, the difference between Chelsea and an opponent in an FA Cup final. Scorer of the winner against Manchester United was 3 years ago. Scorer of the equaliser against Everton last year. The scorer of the goal that has put Chelsea ahead of Portsmouth today.
Very well played by Pickey, and that ball was whacked at him by Rocha. Under a lot of pressure, he controlled the ball, spun away from the challenge.
Well, it's a heartbreaking moment for Portsmouth. And the heartbreak compounded here by Didier Drogba.
Just see David James just took one small pace in the opposite direction. That's why he couldn't get back to make the save. Anticipating the ball was going to be hit over the wall.
Bouba Diop, O'Hara. Piquion was waiting to be the last man in that move, just down an inside left channel. The ball didn't get to him though. Here comes Kalou. Throw for Portsmouth.
Brilliant by Brown. Chased back 30-40 yards. Showed great energy, good determination. Not so good from Prince Boateng.
No, it wasn't, because Brown energy spent really in trying to get his breath back after that lung-busting charge. So here we are with just over 20 minutes to go, if it's going to be decided in 90. And Joe Cole is going to come on for Salomon Kalou, who hasn't had the chance to make up for that miss, but it will fade the memory if he's got a winner's medal.
Yeah, he's had a very good end to the season, Kalou. Played well in parts today. His link-up play with Ivanovic was good, but if remembered for those two bad misses. Joe Cole with a lot to prove, really.
Named, to some experts' surprise, in Fabio Capello's provisional squad of 30 for England in the World Cup. Hasn't played very much recently. Used mostly by Ancelotti from the bench. Trying to get his game back from a long-term injury, which actually came in an FA Cup tie in January of last year. Malouda for Drogba. He gets a second go at it. Tries to tee up Joe Cole. Portsmouth survive by the skin of their teeth. But here's Belletti. They still survive. And Drogba wonders how he hasn't scored for a second time.
Well, he set up Joe Cole the second time round, but what play here to go past the two defenders. Actually, Finnan brings down McQuainer, but good play from David James. Doesn't go to ground too early, David James. He made himself big. And then they got to Joe Cole the second time. I think he's had a good game. He start that game in Rustenburg against America.
Alex. Landed a bit on Dindan, who's picked himself up. O'Hara. Boateng. Ivanovic, who got in. Strength of Chelsea.
One of the best young English players we've produced, Joe Cole, for technical ability. Saw a lot of him as a youngster at West Ham, running their youth team. He was head and shoulders above anyone else on the pitch every time you saw him play.
Been littered with goal-scoring free kicks, the FA Cup final in recent times, but one here might just be enough for Chelsea. John Utaka was part of Harry Redknapp's side 2 years ago, and another who can be more missed than hit. Well, the way he held his nerve in the semi-final, I'm afraid will now not be remembered as much as what happened here at 0-0 early in the second half. Petr Cech got in the way of what wasn't the most confident penalty in truth. And within moments, Drogba was wheeling away at the other end. Plenty of commiserations on that Pompey bench. Been very much all in it together, a siege mentality against the financial world. Not so much the football world have been full of praise, really. Pompey have tried to do on the pitch. Played reasonably well for a relegated side at times. They hadn't had the points deduction. You could look at the table and say they would still have gone down, but I think they would have actually got some better results. They've been playing on an even keel.
Well, they started very poorly, didn't they? I think they lost their first 7 games under Paul Hart.
Alex.
Well, it's just a straight swap. Utaka's going to play on this left-hand side against Ivanovic.
Here's Anelka. Still Anelka, who had 2 either side to work with, but was quite entitled, having gotten to that central position, to have a smack at goal.
But there was some good movement off the ball. That's why he was able to run with it and run with it. Didier Drogba made a diagonal run, Malouda made a diagonal run. Two players went the other way and it just opened up for him. Scored here for Arsenal, didn't he? Or the old Wembley against Newcastle.
He was 19 then. One of the youngest FA Cup final goal scorers. Mullins. Ricardo Rocha, straight onto the head of Alex. Looked forward by Belletti. A willing chaser. He's inconsolable. Still 15 minutes to go.
I certainly don't think that Portsmouth are out this game yet. They've been much better in the second half as an attacking force. Played the game higher up the pitch. Now what can Attacker do? He has got pace. Not very much.
Malouda. In the Chelsea semi-final, we talked a lot about Portsmouth in Chelsea's semi-final. They really finished strongly. Turn a 1-0 lead into a 3-0 triumph. Anelka looking for something similar here for Lampard, who usually times the run as well as that, but usually has a better touch when the ball arrives. Dindan and O'Hara trying to combine. Well read by Terry. Now Belletti.
Important that the front three try and win the ball back for Portsmouth. Can't just allow the ball to be played past them. It's asking an awful lot of Diop and Brown.
Anelka. Toy with Finnan here. Lampard! Still looking to score. So much his game.
Look at his movement. He goes round the back of Brown, then comes short of Brown. It's a very difficult technique, which he almost masters. Just gets slightly underneath it. They still believe they can get into this game.
McQuainer. So galling for Portsmouth. They were on top when they got the penalty. It wasn't against the run of play.
No.
They were forcing the issue. It would have been, the way the second half had started, a deserved lead.
So what they've got to do when they kick it long like that, they've got to get players around the knockdown, as they have done here. Now they're under a bit of pressure.
Michael Brown is down. Much from fatigue as anything else.
David James would be advised to kick long and get his back players up the field a bit. Get more players around the knockdown, see if they can pen Chelsea back.
That's good play by Utaka against Ivanovic. Can he get a cross in here? Still going, John Utaka. Off on the way, builds up your hopes, and it doesn't quite come through.
It was a great touch for him to bring the ball down, but Ivanovic defended stoutly there. Stayed on his feet, used his body strength. I don't think he'll mind playing against Utaka. It's the small players that he doesn't like playing against when I've seen Ivanovic get beaten.
Carlo Ancelotti has stayed on his feet for much of this FA Cup final. If he'd been more relaxed, he would be sitting down.
I think the thing he's worried about is the lack of concentration at times at the back, particularly Alex. He's in the first half.
Well, the call has gone out to Kanu. Just took too long, charged down by Malouda. Here's Joe Cole. In the end again, played very well, Aaron McQuain. It's good news for South Africa with the World Cup coming up.
It certainly is. A controlled chest that was to his own goalkeeper. He was outnumbered at the far post. Ken got his positioning just right. Considering he's played most of his career in central midfield.
Here's O'Hara, somehow still going with that bad back of his. Dindan, who earned the penalty. And then just jogging forward from right back, but he didn't get the ball. Piquion trying to come from the left, Brown in possession. O'Hara. Now Finnan has to step in. And down goes Buberjob. There was a bit of contact. It's a mighty oak felled. But Buberjob.
That's going to be his last bit of action.
With 10 minutes to go, again with the rider that that's if it's decided in 90 minutes. Portsmouth still within touching distance of taking it into extra time. So it's Kanu, a figure who typifies the success of 2 years ago, and Nadir Belhaj, who's been out for a long time, trying to get fit. I think he's been honest enough to say trying to get fit for the World Cup with Algeria. He's fit enough to come on here. He's quick from the left-hand side. He'd probably have been in the team. He'd been in a proper condition. Finnan for Belhaj. He does get there. It's a terrific ball. It's a corner.
What a pass this was from Belhaj on the volley. Joe Cole didn't defend it particularly well. Token jump from him. Really good ball into the box. Alex takes a big swipe. It comes off John Terry. And it was Dindan going in there again.
Portsmouth press for an equaliser here. Trying to put the penalty misery out of their systems. Back level at Chelsea. Cleared by Lampard by the near post. Chelsea trying to push out, and they've certainly got the strength for a counter-attack from this sort of position if they can get some controlled possession. They haven't. It's with Finnan.
Got to get the ball in the box.
That's exactly what he's done. Alex up once. Oh, and then Utaka. It was a dropping ball. It was facing the goal.
I'm not sure John Terry knew too much about this. Belhaj, quite well, he said, can be a very good player. It actually hits him on the knee. He was trying to let that go. If he had let it go, he's trying to get his body out the way. That would have gone straight to Dindan. Whether he'd have scored or not.
If it hit him any harder on the knee, it could have flown into the corner of his own net. So luck on Chelsea's side then. Here is Dindan, no foul. Ashley Cole has stayed down. Piquion just trying to raise themselves, Portsmouth, the last 7 minutes here. A man on the verge of history, who's not by nature a forgiving soul.
Oh, that's a poor challenge really from Dindan. Stamps right on his foot, goes down his shin, that would hurt.
When he was asked about Chelsea winning the Premier League last week, his first reaction was, well, that will shut a few people up. That's Ashley. Strong views and a big trophy cabinet. Can you believe it? On the verge of a 6th FA Cup winners' medal. No one's ever done that before. Competition which began in the early 1870s. 29th staging of it. 3 with Arsenal and on the verge of making it 3 with Chelsea.
He's won them in 2 different places, both fantastic stadiums.
Cleared by McQuainer. Foul given against Piquion.
what Portsmouth have done now. Piquion and Kanu are going to play up front. Utaka on one side, Dindan on the other. O'Hara's dropped back into a midfield role alongside Brown. They haven't seen him caught out so far on the counter-attack.
This is Danny Sturridge, who scored 4 goals in Chelsea's run to the final. Haven't always played their absolutely strongest side in the earlier rounds, although they've never played the FA Cup a lack of respect.
They also had a few players missing, didn't they, at the African Cup of Nations in the first couple of rounds.
Still time for Portsmouth. Again, just away from Utaka, who was in the middle, and Dindan, who was coming round the back.
Brilliant from Belhaj. I think Utaka could have a better go at this. There's the duck. Could he have dived? Didn't really look as though he wanted to head that. And Dindan coming round the back, just got to get it back into play. Belhaj, last year, was the best attacking left-back in the Premier League. He was magnificent at times.
That's a weak header by Ricardo Rocha. Drogba's there, trying to tee up Anelka. Utaka. In the last few minutes, whatever the outcome really, of these players representing Portsmouth. And Ricardo Rocha. Anelka's quick, and then he was a bit too quick for himself when he won the battle with Rocha. Looking at the Portsmouth team, maybe Michael Brown might stay. Some of the others are on loan, like O'Hara, will go back to their parent clubs. Joe Cole. Chelsea looking to finish strongly like they did in the semi-final. Lampard, penalty for Chelsea. Lampard's going to take one here at Wembley with 3 minutes to go, and he'll be hoping he does better than Kevin Prince Boateng.
Well, I think it's Michael Brown who gets the challenge in. There it was, sticks his leg across. He couldn't win the ball. It's a silly challenge. Belhaj was getting back in there as well. Lampard was just running the ball into the box. Brown, who started the game off with a poor challenge on Lampard, finishes it on a poor challenge.
Frank Lampard has scored 10 out of 11 penalties in the Premier League this season. This to make absolutely sure that Chelsea do the double. And he's missed it! Well, it's amazing. Not so much with Boateng, but a very experienced penalty taker like this, even Wembley can get the better of him. And whether that makes Boateng feel any better, probably not.
And I'm not sure that Lampard was under tremendous pressure. They're all 1-0 up. Would he just roll that into the side and totally miskicked it by the looks of it. Really cut across the ball. It was quite a way wide in the end.
Whether it was taking on David James, who has a pretty good record down the years of saving penalties, and I'm sure they've challenged each other in training with England in the past. Ashley Cole not very happy.
Grant's nearly stepping on the field.
4 forward for Chelsea here. Lampard makes it 5, and he's rolled it past the same post from further out.
Got the same bit of paper on the side of the pitch as well. But here's that penalty. Just comes across it. They thought they'd won the double there. Still an agonising minute or so, plus injury time.
Paul Clement giving some last-minute words to Danny Sturridge. Ray Wilkins as well. Ray, an FA Cup winner, this time as a player, not with Chelsea but with Manchester United. Piquion is limping and almost out of the equation. And he thought he'd be available for a pass on that far side. Here's Belhaj, Kanu. Order about to go up. We're expecting 3 added minutes. Time for Daniel Sturridge to come on in place of Anelka, who is like Ashley Cole, closing in on a double-double.
Yeah, had a couple of good shots in the first half, Nicholas Anelka. They say he doesn't like playing out in the wide left position to allow Drogba to play down the middle, but he certainly does it well.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 penalty misses and 1 free kick scored.
Still could be a twist and turn. Unfortunately for Portsmouth, Kanu hasn't been able to get involved in the game so far.
Avram Grant, who of course lost as Chelsea manager the Champions League final on penalties to Manchester United. And, corner given. Of course the players might have taken a touch off Drogba. Hara in trouble. And Ricardo Rocha shown a card. That's why just losing his patience with Portsmouth protesting. Brown a bit too close. Just as well he got the ball.
Yeah, Brown can be a hothead, yes, you understand his frustration, but he's got to be very careful.
Sturridge pointing at a loose-ish shin pad. I don't think necessarily Brown was responsible for that. Sending
here we go.
In a bit of bad temper here. Michael Brown being pulled away. But Chelsea waiting to celebrate. Portsmouth have pushed them hard. And maybe aren't finished yet. Here's Kanu. Terry plays safe. 20 seconds or so left. Kanu.
He actually did well, Kanu, to roll Ashley Cole and get the cross in. It just wasn't quite good enough to cross.
Chelsea have won the double in Carlo Ancelotti's first season in charge. First time for the club. Ashley Cole wins his 6th FA Cup. Petr Cech at the crucial moment saved the penalty, and Portsmouth paid the penalty for Kevin Prince Boateng's inability to take the chance brought about by Belletti's foul on Dindan. Belletti first across to the goalkeeper to say thanks mate. Shortly afterwards, Didier Drogba struck another Wembley special. And even though Frank Lampard missed a late penalty for Chelsea, they've retained the trophy. Their 3rd win here in 4 years in the FA Cup. Stuart Robson.
Well, I thought it was a good game. Chelsea dominated the first half. They created chance after chance, but in the second half, Portsmouth pressed higher up the field, defended better, and it became an even game in the second half, and it changed on that penalty miss from Prince Boateng.
And for Avram Grant, deja vu. For Moscow, that was in a shootout. And John Terry slipped at the vital moment. And the Champions League slipped from Avram Grant's grasp. We'll never know. Had they gone 1-0 up, whether they would have gone on to win. Herman Hreidersen, who's injured, was on the pitch there trying to help console his teammates. But Carlo Ancelotti, calm, cool, and Chelsea are about to collect. That sounds like a goodbye message on the back of Aaron McQueen's shirt. They can go up there with their heads held high. They couldn't come up with one more miracle, though.
I thought they grew into the game. I think they were a bit fearful in the first half. Some of their players put in good performance. Steve Finnan didn't do so well in the first half when Anelka was taken on, but it grew into the game and started to get forward and get crosses in with his left foot. Moved with the op, got tackling after tackle. Did well in midfield for them without really creating anything. And I think Piquion's been excellent for them. Whenever I've seen him in the cup competitions, he's run the line very well. He's tried to play in between the two centre-halves. He's got decent pace. But this man is the one that's come out with the most credit. Avram Grant.
Well, David James did win here with Portsmouth 2 years ago, a rare survivor from that happier day. And he has typified the wish of the players to get Portsmouth through to the end of the season. They've refused to take money that's been officially owed to them, that the club couldn't have paid, really, and it would have spelt the end of Portsmouth. So, in a time where top-level footballers are sometimes purported as greedy, that's certainly not a word you could use about this Portsmouth group. But greedy for success at Chelsea.
They certainly are.
Avram and Son.
They should be proud of themselves, these players.
There's Richard Hughes. He might be playing for Portsmouth next season, the longest-serving player. Tal Ben Haim, who was with Chelsea for a short while. And there's going to be a massive cheer from the Portsmouth end, and I would hope from the Chelsea end as well. He went for a lot of trophies as manager at Chelsea. He was only there 8 months. He didn't get any of them. But he showed spirit. It's been indomitable with him at Portsmouth. A man of distinction, Avram Grant.
Well, the Chelsea supporters were giving him a standing ovation as well. These players join those other list of players who have won the double. Not too many have done it. It's certainly a very hard thing to win.
What about Anelka and Ashley Cole? 2 doubles.
Yeah, Ashley Cole back to his best. Anelka went off the scene for a little while. Thought of to be lazy, but he's come back to Chelsea after a spell at Bolton, and he's been excellent for them.
Well, for a painful hour or two earlier in the week, John Terry thought he'd be denied this moment, maybe even thought he wouldn't be going to the World Cup with a foot injury. But he's made of stern stuff, and so too is the team that he captains. For John Terry, amazing experience this for the 3rd time in 4 years. This is history in the FA Cup, and particularly for Chelsea. And their penalty-saving goalkeeper, Petr Cech, his 3rd winner's medal as well.
And it's reward for their managers who continually play strong teams in the early rounds of the competition. It's how it should be, and Chelsea do it exactly right. They deserve to win this FA Cup. Been the best team in the competition this year.
And they've worked out a way to milk the moment. They complete their first league and FA Cup double. Chelsea! blue certainly is the colour, because the Portsmouth fans have stayed bedecked in their club's traditional blue. It's a full house virtually for the trophy lift, which is very rarely the case.
That's how it should be, though. He'll certainly be pleased. Abramovich been waiting for this moment, the double. They talked at the beginning of the season that this team needed rebuilding. It was too old. They couldn't win the title. But again, they've proved to be winners.
Successful season, and Danny Sturridge got on the pitch. He played enough times in the league as well to get a Premier League medal. Nemanja Matic, one of the subs, not used. Yuri Zhirkov likewise. Joe Cole, wonder what the future holds for him. Contract negotiations to come. Ala Ferreira behind him. Royal handshake from Prince William to King Carlo.
What an introduction to the Premier League, the FA Cup this season for Ancelotti.
Ron Gourlay there, the chief executive, staring in the moment.
Got to remember, it hasn't all been plain sailing for Chelsea this season, has it? Only a couple of months ago, things started to go wrong when they lost at home to Manchester City. One or two of their players in trouble.
Went out of the Champions League, out-thought really by Jose Mourinho, who of course remains a legendary figure at the helm. But I think Carlo Ancelotti, in doing something that Mourinho didn't do, winning this double, will have put himself up there alongside Jose, who of course has got a big date coming next Saturday. He's head coach of Inter, the Champions League final against Bayern Munich.
Good to see Michael Ballack walking quite well down those stairs. Certainly Germany will need him in their World Cup campaign. He's been excellent in recent weeks, Michael Ballack.
Tonight's going to be a good night, is the music. What did he say after last Sunday? He said, it was difficult to find my bedroom after some very good wine.
I think the same can be said about most of the players as well.
The 2010 winners of the FA Cup, Chelsea.
So the day belongs to Chelsea, as it did the whole season in England. They did miss out, of course, on the Champions League, but there is an opportunity next year for Carlo Ancelotti. And I think I feel quite happy for Ancelotti, Foz, because he's a likeable guy. He was a success in Italy. He was an unknown quantity in England, and he came in and did this double. And that's been very, very impressive for him.
Marvellous for him, and the first Italian, of course, to win the Premier League. And it was noticeable that the press back in Italy was extremely pleased about it, because, of course, Capello in charge of England as well, now Ancelotti doing well here, and Mancini at Manchester City just went down fractionally in that last game and missed the Champions League spot. But Italian coach is really the flavour of the year, if you like, across in the EPL and with England. The thing about Ancelotti that I particularly like is his football is usually very, very good, and he has changed the face of the way they play. It wasn't an extraordinary performance today. We're hoping for better football. They did create a lot of chances though, but when he buys his own players next season, you'll see that he'll start to create even better football again, but also that he just has a great character. And as ex-players, we love to see real champions of the game also be successful in management, because they bring in the values and the respect for football, and that's what he does. And you see, once again, he's fallen foul a bit, if you like, of Mourinho, who was his predecessor. He's now taken a step almost beyond him, but It was huge pressure for him after Mourinho had left a few years ago. He's now done it, but even when they went against Inter Milan, he was very classy in the way he carried himself. Mourinho was trying to provoke him again, as he has done with everyone, and that includes Rijkaard, Guardiola, Benitez, the whole lot.